Hi everyone, it's Crafty Tina's. Today's video, we are going to do a card shadow box. We're going to use the We Are Memory Keepers shadow box maker. If you don't have this board, it's not readily available at the moment, but they plan on getting it back in stock. But I have another video that shows you how to make a shadow box, which I'm going to show you in just a second. You can make a shadow box using a scoring board. You don't have to use the We Are Memory Keepers actual shadow box board. It is easier with this board. It's fun with this board, especially if you have our spreadsheet or my spreadsheet. If you come over to my Facebook page, you'll see the Crafty Tina shadow box spreadsheet. This is a new size. I've just added it to our spreadsheet. We're going to make a shadow box that's 4 by 5.5. So let me show you how cute this is. I love making cards. Cards is one of my favorite things to do. This would be a very boring card for me, very simple, very plain. I wanted the outside of this to be super simple, not to be any kind of extravagant. I didn't even put the sentiment on here. This is a birthday card. I wanted this to be plain. Oh, that's cute. I wanted the wow factor to be on the inside. So you simply open up the ribbon, and I leave plenty so it can be retied. And as you open it up, you have a shadow box card. The shadow box is on the inside, and the card basically folds up around it. Now there's going to be a few more of these coming out because as I made this, I decided I wanted to make different sizes. I want to make a card that is the exact size of the shadow box, so there's no overhang. I want to make different sizes and different styles. So there's going to be some more of these coming out. So if you like this type of thing, make sure you hit that subscribe button now, so then you will know when I release more videos, you can come and check it out. Now this is a wild batch of cards here, guys, or flowers, all kinds of colors. I don't normally put this many different colors in one bouquet of flowers, but I wanted it to be similar to this paper. This paper is really pretty and it has a lot of different colored flowers. So I kind of went with the theme to see what I came up with. We're using one die set, and I will put this in the description so that you know where I got this from. This is from Amazon. All I did was cut up a whole bunch of colors and a bunch of different flower pots. As you can see here, we have a whole bunch of parts, which I'm going to show you how to make these little pieces into a flower pot shadow box card. Now, one thing I did add to this is I added the tag pocket. This is another die set, again from Amazon. It's a very simple die set. We've used it in other videos. I've used this in my cinch notebooks. I really love this little guy. I put just the centerpiece inside the card, and then I added some tags from another video where we made tags using our We Are Memory Keepers, the Works board. We didn't make this using a tag punch board. We used it making the Works with the Works board because I wanted to show you how you can make many different size tags. So I already had these colors made, and they worked perfectly with this wild paper. Now you can go back and add ribbons to each of those little holes, and then you can write or stamp little sayings or little messages to the person who's receiving it. You could also put a gift card in there if you want this to be a gift card type card for someone. I added happy birthday, which was a different die set. I like mixing and matching my die sets because I am going to get my money's worth out of these die sets. This happy birthday is a die cut, but you don't have to have a happy birthday die cut. You can also use stamps printed, however you want to add your happy birthday to your card. There are so many different ways. As I was putting this together, I kept thinking, well, this would go up here. What about happy up here, birthday down here? There were so many options that I could make this card about 10 different ways using the exact same features. So it's a very versatile card. Now all I did was take a heavy white cardstock, and I'm going to give you the sizes and how to score it and fold it. And then I took colored cardstock and made a piece for the front and the back. I had left over, this was a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock. I used it for this and this and this, and I still had a piece left over. And I'm going to show you how I took the 12 by 12 piece of cardstock for the one we're going to do on camera, and you can do multiple features just using that one piece of 12 by 12. This was some lavender that I had in my stash of scraps. I used a lot of scrap paper and just made a number of flowers, different colors and styles. I'm going to show you how to create the bouquet, how to layer the flowers, and I'm going to show you how I made this shadow box. Instead of using glue or double-sided tape, I made it using a hot glue pen. Now that means it's a smaller tip, not a large normal hot glue, but this is a hot glue pen. This is a new little gadget I bought because I was having trouble in the Florida heat, in the Florida moisture. Some of my shadow boxes were coming apart and I didn't like that. So I wanted to try hot glue, or I went looking for another type of glue. But one of my biggest problems, especially on camera, is how long glue takes to dry. I was having to hold this and then trying to talk to you guys so you wouldn't get bored watching glue dry. I wanted something instant, not just for on film, but when I want to come in here and make something, I don't want to wait. So I bought this to layer flowers and to try it with the shadow box. It actually worked really well. I don't recommend you starting out making shadow boxes using the hot glue pen, only because if you're not comfortable folding up your shadow boxes, you get one shot only. It is not forgiving. You cannot remove it. You will destroy your shadow box if you try. So I bought this. You don't have to have the wireless. I will put this in the description if you guys want. I just got it. I've only made 3 cards with it. I do like that I can pick it up and have no cord. The cord is plugged into the base. But if I wanted to do a longer project and I needed it to be powered for a long period of time, the cord will actually go into the hot glue. It's now wired, but I can go longer. You can go up to 2 minutes with it out of the base. So far, I've had no problems with the glue staying hot while I make my entire shadow box and my entire card. You just keep it on the base. It has a silicone little pad here and the glue does not stick to it, so it drips on there. The only downside to hot glue is the strings, and they're very easy. You just have to have patience. Once you finish, give it a few seconds, then just take a pair of tweezers and just pick off any little glue strings you see. You're going to see them. They look like spider webs. They are annoying, but you can just pick them off with a pair of tweezers and it's not so hard. I think this is a cost efficient because you use very little hot glue. I've made 3 cards like this that included the shadow box. I'm only using it for the flowers and the shadow box. I'm not using it for anything else. I am using it for the ribbon. And I went through 1 glue stick. I've just put my second one in. So I do think that the hot glue is a good solution for the shadow box, but we are going to keep trying it to see what happens. I do know that you need to be comfortable making the shadow box before you use the hot glue option. You need to be comfortable folding this in because you get limited time and you have to have it right. I will show you that I'm not rolling it into the square tube anymore. I'm actually pressing it flat, and I'm going to show you that feature. You can use that feature if you're using regular glue, so maybe this will work for you guys if you are struggling. However, I really love the concept of the inside of the card being fancier than the outside. I've never had that before. Usually all the flowers would be on the front and there would just be one little cute saying on the inside. I'm not used to decorating the inside, but I love the feature of the shadow box because these flowers are never going to get smushed. They're never going to be flat. If you put them here and you stuff this in an envelope, those flowers are never going to be like this again. I don't know if you can see how detailed and 3D these flowers are. I guess you can if I angle it. There's nothing flat going on in here. Even the flower pot is really high up because I put it on double foam tabs. So let's get started so I can show you this shadow box, which is a new size for us. We're putting it in a 5 by 6.5 card. This is my favorite size, so that's what I went with. It is kind of big. You don't really need a card this size, but it is really nice. Another feature of this is it stands up and looks amazing standing up. When you sit this on a desk, and I can't do that because my camera's overhead, but when you sit this on a desk, it looks great. Even with the little ribbon flaps sitting here, sitting it on a desk, it looks great. So much, in fact, that I already made one to do this video with, and I left it sitting on my desk at work today. I meant to bring it home with me, but I didn't, so I had to come home and make this one so I could show it to you so that we could make one together. So let's get started. Let's talk about what you're going to need. You're going to need some ribbon. It can be any kind of ribbon. I don't recommend thick ribbon. The thinner, the better. Sheer ribbon would even work for this case. You need to be able to glue it so it doesn't stick up too much, but you also need to be able to tie it. So you don't want that really stiff ribbon. You're going to want something that's easy to tie, not too wide, not too skinny. Any kind of ribbon that you can tie easily, because remember, the person you give this to may want to retie this. The next thing you're going to need is some white or any color heavy cardstock. I think this is 110-pound cardstock. So I have a piece of that here. And this cardstock is your card base. So you're going to do 5 inches, a half inch, and 5 inches. So you need it to be 10.5 by 6 inches. I'm sorry, 6.5 inches. Our card is 5 by 6.5. So 6.5 for our height. But then we need a 5 inch, a half inch, and a 5 inch in order to make the base card. And I'm going to show you how to do that. You need a piece for your shadow box. That is the actual frame on the inside. You need a piece for that. For this shadow box, we're going to use our little chart here. It is a 4 by 5.5. What I did was I made it exactly 1 inch smaller than the card. The card is 5 inch, so the shadow box is 4 inch. The card is 6.5 inches, so the shadow box is 5.5 inches. I just wanted a little edge around it. I don't think I need the edge. I am going to make another one where the shadow box is the exact size, just to see how it looks. So because our outside dimensions are 4 by 5.5, our paper size needs to be 8 by 9.5. So I picked out this pretty little lots of color because I have all these colors of flowers. We have lots of butterfly colors and flowers and leaves. This piece is 8 by 9.5 for our shadow box. You're also going to need 2 pieces of cardstock. And again, this is personal preference. You can do anything you want inside and out. I'm just showing you the basics and giving you the sizes of what I have done. This lavender piece here is actually a 1/4 inch smaller than our box. Our card being 5 by 6.5, means this lavender piece here is 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. If you want to put it front and back, you're going to need 2 of them. Now, the reason I did that is because I wanted this card to feel heavy. I didn't want these pages to feel flimsy or weak. I wanted it to feel hefty. This is not so heavy that, oh, this is horrible. It just feels heavy. It feels sturdy. And I didn't know if this shadow box was going to hold well onto the actual cardstock. I did glue the shadow box down with the hot glue. I thought that did a marvelous job. But again, you need to have a little bit of practice because you're going to have to put hot glue over the entire back and put it down centered quickly because it needs to go quick because this cools so much faster. But this shadow box, guys, is not coming off. It is never coming out of there. This card will fall apart before that shadow box ever comes out. So now that we have our outside pieces and our shadow box piece, you can decorate it any way you want. But I am going to show you how to make the shadow box and how to do the flowers and how to put the card together so you can make your own and be as creative as you would like. So let's make our shadow box first, and then we will make our card. We're going to move this. This is 1 die set, and that's all these punched out different colors. You get 2 separate flower pots. You even get a bow. I didn't use the bow. You get a lot of greenery, and you get a lot of different shapes and sizes of flowers. They barely fit on my magnetic sheet, but I thought that was a great deal to get so many flowers in one place. For our shadow box, we're going to use the shadow box punch board, but I do have a video showing you how to do this with a scoring board. By the way, the pin hot glue barely ever drips and it stays hot. So you can set it to the side, but away from where you could touch the tip, and just let it sit there until you're ready. We are going to score all 4 sides of our paper cardstock. This cannot be paper, it has to be cardstock. You're scoring all 4 sides using your scoring board. This is a new shadow box size for us, so we get to add it to the log. You guys know how much I love adding things to the log. Every time I get it reposted on my Facebook page, I find more sizes. So that log is going to continue to grow. We're going to flip our board around. We're going to use the long side, whichever side's longer. If you're using a square piece, because your shadow box is square, you don't have to worry about that. We're going to put it in the punch as far as it goes. Punch, and we're going to slide it to the left and punch. We're going to flip it so that we stay on our long side, the same side we just punched, but on the back. We're going to punch and slide to the left and punch. Now we're going to flip it to the other long side. Punch, slide it to the left and punch. Flip it so we stay on the long side. Punch, punch. And now we have all our lines and all of our punches. And you guys notice I wrote to the side on purpose so that I wouldn't be writing on the inside of my shadow box, because if I choose not to put a piece of paper in here, this is what you're going to see inside the shadow box. So let's move this out of the way, put our little scoring tool back in there so we don't lose it. One of the benefits of the We Are Memory Keepers scoring boards is they all have a little holder with the little scoring tool, so it holds them nice and neat. I'm going to get rid of the scraps. I love how it stacks them up nice and perfect. So now let's fold this. We're going to fold all the score lines, and then I'm going to show you how to do it using hot glue. Now I'm using a hot glue pen because you don't want a large amount of hot glue, because you would be able to feel the thickness of the hot glue when it comes out too much, and your paper is not going to lay flat because it's going to be uneven because of the height of the hot glue, if that makes sense. A hot glue pen puts a small, thin stream of hot glue out. Now, there is not 2 settings. This is always high heat. And I think that's on purpose, because if it's a smaller nozzle, if the hot glue is not too hot, it's not going to come out of that nozzle. So we've always rolled up our square. So we've put our adhesive here and we've rolled it up. This time, we're going to fold it up. So we're going to take the one outside piece, that's where the hot glue is going to go, and then we're going to fold it 2. If you need to make the square to get the idea, and then just lay it flat and then open it up. So you have to be quick and don't burn your fingers, but you're going to add hot glue to this tab, and then you're going to fold so that it's flat, because you only have a few seconds. Like, that's it. It's down. It's not coming back up. It's still a square tube. It's still my perfectly square tube. It is not going anywhere, guys. When we finish this, I'm going to show you how sturdy this is. So again, we're going to put it here and fold it 1, 2 up so that it makes our square. And again, you have to be quick. And now we have the other side. And because it is already dry, it is already stuck, heat, humidity, nothing's going to tear that apart. You will have to tear the box apart if you wanted to undo this. These sides are a little bit more complicated. You are going to go and roll it up into the square tube that you want it to be. You want to make sure that it fits properly, and it does. Now you're just going to move this out of the way enough to put the hot glue under it. Because remember, it has to stay inside those little corners. But I can still just flatten it. I don't have to roll it. And it will still pop up, and it still goes in perfectly square. So let's do the other side. We're going to roll it into the tube, just like we normally would. Then we're just going to open it up so that I can put it on the bottom piece. And then I'm still going to lay it flat. Now here's the only downside is the strings of hot glue. If they bug you, go ahead and remove them, or you can wait till the end. If you get glue past your inside, it is going to stick. That's why I have these things out here. If you squirt too much glue in there and it squeezes out when you're pressing it down, it could stick. Now we are ready to glue our little corners. Now I wasn't sure hot glue was going to be the answer to this, because you get one shot with hot glue. You can't keep moving it, keep pressing it, making sure it's right. You get really legitimately one shot. That's why I said you need to be comfortable making these before you try it with the hot glue, unless you're very comfortable with hot glue and you have a great understanding. So you're literally just going to put a drop, just like we did with the glue, and you have one shot. Both sides have to go in at the same time. You have to be done in one shot. But it's glued. It's not coming apart, guys. Like, it will never come apart. You will rip the paper. It is perfectly squared. It is perfectly fine, but you have to be quick and understand you can't push this in and then push this in. It won't work. Now this one, there we go. With the regular glue, we could push one and then push the other. You cannot do that with hot glue. Why are you not lining up? There you go. So are you guys ready? Here we go. I keep waiting for me to mess this part up on camera because there's no fixing it. Ready? And just like that, it is done. Taking my little glue stringies off. However, just like that, it is glued and there is nothing going to break. Like, guys, there's nothing going to take this apart. I was pretty impressed with how sturdy this thing is using the hot glue feature. If you're doing good with the glue and you're happy with the glue, by all means continue it. If you want an alternative or you want to try something different, try a hot glue pen. Don't try a hot glue gun, try the pen. It's a very small tip, the glue is very hot, and it comes out. It's an instant fix. So, very happy with that. I didn't mess it up on camera. We are good to go. So now let's make our card. So you're going to need a scoring board. Any scoring board will do. This happens to be the We Are Memory Keepers, the Works board. And I have it set for scoring, which means I took this out. It's flat when it's cutting, and it has this edge on it when it's scoring. So we're going to put that down. We're going to take our white, which is 10.5 by 6.5, and we're going to score it. Again, onboard feature. If you guys are worried about me knocking these off the back of my table, you'll be happy to know that I fixed that problem with a pool noodle. Nothing can go off the back of my table anymore. You're going to put it up against the edge of any scoring board. You're going to score it at 5, and you're going to score again at 5.5. Now we can put this away. We can put our tool back. Now we're ready to fold on those two lines. And now we have what looks like a book. We have a 5-inch, a 1/2 inch, and a 5-inch. And I know that scoring takes just a little bit off. So one side is not going to be quite 5 inches. It's going to be so minute that you're not going to know it. So now let's decorate and add our ribbons. You want to add the ribbon before you add your front and back cover, because you are going to cover up the edge of the ribbon using the back. And this is not the best choice of ribbon for these colors. I just couldn't really decide on what other color I wanted to be on the front, so I just left it this way. So you're going to need, I think it was about 9 inches. Yeah, 9 inches of ribbon should be plenty. If you want to add a little extra and then you could trim it up later, that's fine. But I'm going to go with 9. And then move your ribbon out of the way. I use my grid lines a lot to help me center things. So I'm going to put this to where I have equal amounts of grid lines. This grid line is my center right here. I have the equal amount here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is my center. I'm going to take my ribbon. I'm going to take, this is 3 inches of ribbon. So I'm going to put my glue here and put my ribbon on top. So I don't want to go past, say, about here. You can use this also using your 1, 2, 3. This does not have to be exact. Again, we're going to use the hot glue. So I'm going to lay my ribbon up here. I cut one in at an angle, and that end needs to be outside. This one can be inside. I'm going to put a strip of hot glue and then immediately put the ribbon onto the hot glue. And there we have it. There's my one side with my little tail. Hopefully this is going to be enough to tie, since it is a, yeah, I'm not going to redo it. We're going to flip it over to the other side. And now I'm going to put my glue right here and put this ribbon on top. Again, does not have to be exact, just has to be quick because it cools really fast. I didn't want any to squeeze out, none squeezed out, the little stringies. So now I have my ribbon for my card box. Now I can open it back up and I want to add my 2 covers, front and back. Now at this point, if you own embossing folders, if you have pretty embossing folders, you can emboss the pretty designs onto your paper. They don't have to be plain. You can stamp them, you can emboss them, you can use printed paper. Don't let plain paper be your only guide. I'm using plain paper so it's easier for the camera for you to see it. You can always go back later and add stamps or some little shimmer, anything you want. I want to secure this ribbon and add this piece of cardstock. So we're going to use the Advanced Tape Glider, and I just want to put some adhesive across that ribbon, because for this I'm only going to go all the way around each side, so I just wanted to make sure it had a little extra adhesive. That's important if I was using this to attach my ribbon. If you're using the hot glue, you pretty much don't need to do the extra steps unless you want to be really just safe and know that this is not going to come off. You want to be sure that ribbon's not going to pull out and mess up your card. So now we're going to add some adhesive to all 4 sides of our chosen front and back cardstock. I'm just going to put an X in the center. So we've put adhesive all the way around, and I'm going to center it. And because I made it 1/4 of an inch smaller, there's 1/8 of an inch all the way around. I like the bordered look. I like the layered look. You can choose not to put these on. You could put something decorative here to cover up your ribbon. It's entirely up to you, but I do like how it makes this card feel beefier, makes it feel better because it's thicker. Remember not to go all the way to the end because it's going to have a little gap there. You don't want the adhesive to be there. We're going to put the adhesive on our other side, on all four sides, and then a little in the middle so that this is like way too far from this edge. Let's put a little more. I was getting carried away with my tape. There we go. So we've added it on all the sides. We're going to do the same thing. It's going to have 1/8 of an inch all the way around because we made it 1/4 of an inch smaller. And now we have our book with our ribbons. We have our shadow box to go on the inside. So before we put the shadow box on the inside, I want to decorate my top. So this is what was left over after I cut my shadow box from a 12 by 12. So I can choose to put a nice size on the front. I like this option because this butterfly is almost all on there and the dark color blue is on there. I like this section, so I think I'm going to put this section on the inside. Now this was left over from the blue, so I think I'm going to make some cute little staggered images in the inside. So I'm going to save this for the inside, and I'm going to go with this for the outside. So if this is 6.5 and this piece is 6.25, then I want to make this piece 6 inches. So I'm going to grab this scoring board. We're going to flip it back over so it can cut. Put it back together correctly. And now I want this piece to be 6 inches. Now you can stop here and see that I'm going to cut this butterfly off. Maybe take a little off of here so that I can get the majority of the butterfly. And then turn it around and then do the 6 inches. I took nothing off of this butterfly, but I allowed this one to be fuller on the page. So before you cut, think, because if you take off the sliver, it might make a big difference. And now this looks really pretty. I still have a piece that has a butterfly and a flower, so this piece will make a very nice card front on another card. Always save your scraps because you never know what kind of item you're going to want to make. I could also use this piece for the inside if I wanted. Instead of using this one, I could use a full piece, place my happy birthday, make my shadow box, and that would be a very nice card. If I chose to use this piece with some blue, then I could have my happy birthday like that. So there is so many options and so many wonderful things you can do with these cards, with these shadow boxes. The possibilities are absolutely endless. I'm going to put this one to the side because I have so much blue going on. I want to keep it. And I'm going to use this for another project. So before we get to the inside, I want to do my outside first. And I'm going to go with this being my outside cover. Because technically, I don't need any more than just this. Now, I have to say the Works board, that blade did not last long, and I have not found any replacements yet. So it leaves little fuzzies. That's what I keep cleaning off. So I'm going to add this as my cover sheet for this shadow box card. Now I'm going to use my tape runner, not my hot glue, because you're going to feel hot glue if you did it on here. I don't want to be able to feel the hot glue, so I'm going to use the double-sided tape. You don't have to use double-sided tape. You can use any kind of glue you're comfortable using. When you're using a print, make sure you are putting it right side up because you don't want to have to tear it off. If you happen to do something upside down and you think your project is ruined, don't worry. Simply get another piece of cardstock of any print you want, anything that matches, cut it to the same size, and just put it directly on top. No one will ever know except you, and you can get a good chuckle out of it when the person opens it up and says, "Oh, how pretty," and only you will know that it was done wrong. I have put mine upside down. I've cut it out, turned it around, and put it on another card base. So I have done that multiple times. Now let's decorate the inside, and then we're going to attach our shadow box, and I'm going to show you how to make the flowers. I want to cut this one to be a little shorter, and then I'm going to put the blue like that. This is 6.5, so I am going to go 6. Again, another personal preference. You can do any shape, size, anything you want. And because this butterfly matches this one, I am now going to keep these two scraps together because they're going to go really great for a card. Now I have my pretty butterfly and I have my blue. I'm going to put my blue down first. It's hard to see my little crease line here. I'm going to put him right here. And then I'm going to take my butterfly piece. I'm going to take off my fuzzies. I'm going to make sure I have him right side up, and I'm just going to put him right here. And now I'm going to put this happy birthday. You can use any happy birthday you want. I could have used that on the shadow box, but I wanted to put one of these little guys here. I think I like this little guy here. I always cut out extras. When I'm on my silhouette cameo, I do a lot of print and cut. I do whole pages of the different sayings and then keep them in a little container. So I always have these readily available, especially if I'm trying to make a card really quick because I forgot a card. These come in handy. You can die cut it, stamp it, or print it. Now let's do our shadow box. I recommend putting the shadow box on first and then filling it up. The reason I say that is because with it full, you can't press it down because you'll be squishing your stuff. So you want to glue this and press it down and then add all the stuff for the shadow box. So again, I use my grid lines and I line it up. I know that I only have a 1/2 inch and that's one of these blocks. So I know this is my corner. This is my corner. And I'm going to try to line it up straight. It's going to be as straight as it can get. So this part, guys, you have to be quick if you're going to use hot glue. But hot glue will be instantly attached. It will be in there for life. You just have to be fairly quick. Once you have the glue, you need to press it down immediately. I have a fan on in my craft room almost all the time, so it's even faster for me because the air will dry it quick. So I'm going to grab my hot glue. I'm going to go all the way around, do some squigglies, and then I'm instantly going to go down. Ready, guys? And now I can press because there's nothing inside there. Okay, it's already done. There's no worrying about it's not pressed. I'm just trying to make sure there's not too much air bubbles. It's on there for life, guys. It is not going to come off. You can't see the hot glue. Even if you look for it, you can't see it. So there's no reason not to use it. But one thing is for certain, that shadow box is not going anywhere anytime soon. So now let's talk about, do we want a background or do we want to leave it white? There's many options you can use. Because this is, oh, look how perfect that fits. Because these are flowers, I kind of do want some color back there. I'm going to go with this lighter blue to kind of brighten it up a little. I'm pretty impressed that I had picked up a scrap out of my drawer, my scrap drawer, instead of actually cutting a piece to size. Now the inside of this box is 3 by 4.5. This must have already been a 3-inch piece. So let's go cut it at 4.5. I don't want to flatten or squish my shadow box. We're going to go to 4.5. Going to make sure that this is indeed 3. And it's slightly over 3, but it was working pretty good. So we're going to go with it. For this, I'm going to use my regular double-sided because I want it to be flat. I don't want the light to catch a raised groove or a raised piece. You can't see it. You can feel the hot glue, but you can't see it. If it's colored like this, you may be able to see it. So let's go ahead and put in my pretty little background. That's nice. That looks better than the white. And again, this is why I don't put my paper inside the shadow box until I'm done, because actually, guys, when I started, I was going to leave the inside white for a change because I figured I'd have so much color going on. But then I remembered I have a lot of white flower pieces and that would not have looked good on the white. So now let's fill this up. Let's make our flower pot. We're using the die cut. Now for this flower pot, I put something behind this one because it is open. You get 2 flower pots with this die set. You get the solid and you get the pretty little textured one. This reminded me of a basket. That's why I put white behind the pink. We're going to leave this here so you can see it, so you can compare, because we're going to make all kinds of different little flowers. So for this flower pot, we can either use the solid or we can use the textured. And I cut out a few. The reason they're orange is I kind of wanted to get like a terracotta look. And I think using this with a darker look would give it a terracotta, or maybe even doing it with the lighter would give it that terracotta look. Now these are not meant to stack. It still shows the opening. So I traced this on a piece of paper and cut it out. But for this video, we are just simply going to slide this part down to cover all the little openings. So I'm going to cut off the tabs on the side. You don't want to get glue on that. We're going to use regular liquid glue for this. And I'm going to slide it down so far that it's going to match on the sides, and then I'm just going to cut off the bottom. So to do that, we're going to have to put some liquid glue on here. And it is super hard to glue this tiny, tiny little lines. So I am just going to use my finger, make a mess, and put some glue on this. And then I'm going to put this on here, holding it with my fingers so that I know how far down. And it looked like it had to go all the way down. So we're going to put it all the way down to there. And now all the holes are filled in. Now that I've done that, and it's slid on the side, so you can see it extra over there. So we're going to have to cut that off. I just don't want to cut the actual dark color. There we go. Now it looks kind of like a clay pot or a terracotta pot. And that's the look I wanted. It also helps that there is some orange in here because of the butterfly. There's actually more orange on other pieces of this cardstock. But this would have looked really good with this one. Good to know. Let's put our flower pot in, but first make sure you clean up your glue. You do not want your glue sticking to anything. I like using unscented baby wipes in the craft room, but anything will work. Now let's put our flower pot in. Now I raised this I double stacked 2 foams, and I used the thick ones too. I really wanted that flower pot to be up. I considered putting it on the outside of the frame, but it didn't look near as good as on the inside. So what I did was I just took these little foam dots and I stuck 3 on the back, just one on the bottom, 2 on the top. I took the paper off of them, and then I stuck 1 on top of each. This made it really rise up, give it a great 3D look. Let's see, I don't usually have trouble getting the paper off of these. So I used 6 tabs and just double stacked them. You guys can see that. And then I just wanted to put my flower pot in the center right there. And now I have my little clay flower pot. Now we want to make our flowers. Now, there is no rule of thumb. There is no right or wrong. There's only have fun. So what I like to do is I like to stack my flowers 3 layers. You can do 2, and I'm going to show you some fun things that you can do, such as this little guy right here and this little circly guy. So let's pick out some colors. I want some blue. I want some darker blue. Do I want pink? Yeah, I'd say a little pink. Maybe a pink that I've inked the edges of. I want some yellow, and I want some white. Simple enough. Put whatever you like together. It doesn't have to be right, doesn't have to be wrong. Any kind of combination, anything you like. Now here's a little trick. If you have a colored theme, such as we have blue going on, you can take a little dabber or a Q-tip or anything else. Makeup sponges work better than Q-tips, but these little dabbers you can get at any craft store. If you have white petals, put some ink on your dabber and just go around the edge of those petals. You're going to add a really cool look to a very boring flower petal. And you can do that to any color, any shape. You can put the same color ink on the same color petal to give it an illusion of maybe the flower's a little darker, maybe it's a little lighter. So see, this is still a blue flower, but by inking the edges, it softens the paper look up. So it doesn't look like paper anymore because you're shading it. You don't have to go crazy. You can barely touch it, or you can put a lot. It's so easy to do. It's actually fun. Yeah, you're going to get ink on your hands. It's okay. It washes off with soap, but it gives it such a cool illusion. I don't know who invented doing this, but it is very calming, relaxing. You can have a lot of fun with it. You can put as many colors as you want. If you wanted to color this whole little flower because you liked the color of this ink, just put it on a scrap piece of paper and blot it. You don't even have to shade it entirely. You can just blot it to be really splotchy. And look how cute that is. Put a little bit more on that side. Just let it dry a little bit before you try to use it. But you can have so much fun with inking flowers, and it changes their appearance, changes the way it looks. And once you put it inside a bouquet, especially one where you've got a lot of blue themed, it really draws that color out. Any kind of ink will work, any little blotter. Makeup sponges work best, or these little blotters, but you can use Q-tips. Depends on whatever you have available. Make it fun, but also make it cost effective. Yes, you're going to end up with ink all over you. It'll come off eventually. I'm just kidding. It comes off with water and soap. So now we want to layer these flowers. I like putting foam in between my layers because it gives it more dimension. But another thing you can do is you can grab your bone folder out of any of your boards, and you're wanting to pull it across your petals to give them a shape. You want them to curl up. And just by pushing that piece of plastic between your fingers, just like this, you're curling those petals up. Another thing you can do, once I find my little mouse pad, here he is. Mouse pad or coaster, these little guys right here, and your little tool, just simply take the back side and rub it around into circles on top of him. And when you do that, you end up with a flower that is totally curled. And that looks great in these shadow boxes. If that was on top of a card, it would be flattened really easy. So now I have two things curled up to look more realistic, like a flower should, instead of being totally flat. I know it's harder to see dimension in the camera because the camera is facing straight down, but trust me, these are adorable. The hot glue pen does work really well when it has glue. It works really well. Watch me have turned it off. Oh, nope, it's still on. Keep in mind, I just received this little guy. I haven't even been able to use him very much. And I don't know why he's not pushing the glue down. Oh, I don't think it likes the end of that glue. I really wanted to show you guys this part. But I have a piece of glue stuck in there because I tried to stick two glue sticks together. Because I saw it and I thought it'd be a good idea to try it, but I should have just kept going with my own way. So I'm going to sit him back here and let him heat up again. And I'm going to show you what I used to do before I started using hot glue. You can use glue or foam tabs. I like using the little foam tabs because it gives it a very good 3D look. So we're going to put a foam tab not underneath this guy, but on top of him so that we can put the little flower, once I can get the paper off of the foam. Oh, the paper's already off. Duh. So now we're going to stick those two together, and they have a lot of depth to them. You can also add foam to the back, and now he's even taller. We're going to take the paper off the back of this one, and now we're going to put it in here, anywhere we want. We're just going to start putting flowers in, and then we're going to add the greenery afterwards, because adding the greenery afterwards will give us a chance to see where it needs to be. We're going to do the same thing with these long petals, but you're going to want to pull carefully. Don't pull them too hard because then they're going to break off. If they break off, you're simply going to fold it into a shape and continue using it. So now let's take this little guy here and let's round him. You can also get little tools. I don't have a good example. This one is like a stylus tool. You can get them with bigger ends, and I do have a whole set of them to do the rounding. But if you have these, they work just as good. And once you do little circles, your flower is rounded. I really wanted, there we go. But let's say I really wanted to show you guys how this hot glue did so much better than actual glue, because my flower is done instantly. It's already done. I don't have to worry about waiting for it to dry. I can go ahead and put this little guy right into the shadow box. I'm going to stagger them a little, leave a little space between them so I can stuff some greenery in there. You can also press down each petal to give it a dimension, a look, instead of mashing it between the plastic and your finger. You can mash it into. You just have to have a rubber mat underneath. And then I'm going to round this little guy. I'm going to add a little foam tab in the center. These little ones are so hard to deal with. You could probably use tweezers to pull off the paper to make it easier. So once I have that, then I add hot glue. Definitely hot glue for sticking it on because, of course, remember, once it's stuck, it's stuck. But if you do the hot glue to stick it on, it seems to have, it's quicker and it holds it. So you don't have to worry about coming back and adding the next one and having it move the first one that you placed down there. So we're just going to do a couple more flowers, then the greenery, and we will have our perfect little shadow box. I'm gonna add another foam tab because I want this one to stand up a little. The benefit of it standing up also is that you can put the green leaf edge underneath. I don't want him too close to, well, I didn't want the two yellows too close together, so we'll stick him over here, and then we're gonna add one more right here. Let's add a pink with maybe a little darker pink underneath. We don't have any dark pink in this one, so let's go with some blue. And I know there's no flowers in the wild that look like these. I just think they're really pretty when you can do any color flower you want. And don't limit yourself to solid colors for your flowers. You can also use prints. I've had some really pretty flowers come about. And because I have so many on foam, I'm going to put this one flat down. There we go. And now I have all these pretty flowers. Now I want to show you what you can do if you want to add something different, something small. You're going to take any kind of flower you want. These little long petaled ones work best. You're going to fold it in half, and then you're going to fold it in half again. And now you have a pretty little bloom that you can add some hot glue to in the corner and attach it anywhere you want to make a very unique shaped flower. So let's add a little pink one right next to it. We're going to fold it in half, and you're going to fold it in half again. And then you're just going to add glue. If you want to put a little glue on the inside so that it stays closed in that shape a little better, and then we can add it right there as well. And how cute is that? Now let's stick some greenery in there. I like to only put it at the bottom of my leaf and then stick it down so that the top of the leaf stays loose. Now this set also comes with little greenery. It comes with skinny little leaves, fat leaves. It comes with a little swirly thing like right here, but I don't think I have any more cut out of that. So let's add some more green. Put some over here. Put some maybe behind here. This is the best way to plant a garden because you can just stick it anywhere you want. Don't have to worry about it growing. Or if it's getting along with the others. I also like to come into the inside and add one, especially when there's space. The other thing I love is, and I'm sorry guys, we can't get this punch anymore right now. I am still looking for it because I know several of you want it. I love these little branches. I love when I punch them in this green glitter as well. It is super shiny and shimmery. But I had already cut out some green ones here and I want to add some. And I just do it to the bottom part and you add it underneath the flower. And by adding more greenery, you really have a more realistic flower pot going because you can't have flowers without green. And you can overlap these. You don't have to have just this. You can have this overlap your leaves so that it's like a double. You can put in any empty space you want. But how cute is this shaping up? We're getting like our whole little thing going. If you want to add some greenery and this is too big, you just simply pull off what you don't want. I'm just going to leave a little. I'm going to put a little glue here. And I'm going to try to stuff him in here. There we go. What do you guys think? Now we have a really big bundle of prettiness going on the inside. Now we do have these little hot glue strings, and I will take my tweezers and just pick them off. It should only take 2 seconds to pick them off. But now we have a nice flower pot full of prettiness. We have our happy birthday saying over here. Closed, it's just a cute little print. It's a pretty little booklet. We have our ribbon to tie. Let's see if we left enough. The wider the ribbon, the more length you need to tie the bow, because the bow is a little harder to tie. And actually we did really good with the 9 inches. So now we have our card, front and back. We have our ribbon. Once open, now we have the wow factor of opening up the card and getting a very three-dimensional look. This is going to make some great Christmas cards, some great birthday cards. I plan on making a few shaker cards. This is going to be awesome. If you want to add flowers over here or something else, such as a butterfly, you can, because there's room inside the card, because this isn't as thick as the shadow box. So when you close it, it's still going to be flat and you'd still have the 3D look on both sides. So that's what we have for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe. Make sure you like and comment down below anything you'd like to say about the card. Ask questions. I'd be happy to answer them. Make sure you check out my Facebook page where we all share ideas of all the fun things we're learning to do. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, happy crafting.